Hey guys, so welcome to our first video. So since we have a lot of free time and I've got nothing else to do, I decided to just, vlog maybe, I don't know. So our first video is gonna be about what's in my camera bag. These are the different gears that I use for different shoots and events here in the City of Iloilo. But before that, let's hear from our sponsor. Nope, just kidding, there's no sponsor. So before I talk about what bag I use today, I just want to share with you guys the bag that I had before. The Loewipro ProTactic 450 AW version 1. I had that bag since 2016 before I sold it off actually just a few months ago. This is what I use now. This is the Thinktank Roller Derby. And I had this bag since last year actually. And what I like about this bag, as obvious as it is, are the wheels. Because as the years went by and my gear started to grow, my back actually felt the weight of my gear, and I didn't want to have back problems in the middle of the shoot or in general in my day-to-day activities. So I got this bag second-hand. And as a matter of fact, almost all of my gear here are second-hand, or I bought it off from somebody who used to own it. The only thing brand new that I buy are batteries and SD cards. So let's get right in. Alright, so this is how I pack my gear, and this has worked for me since I bought the bag. So I'll put this to the side and we'll talk about each gear that I have. And these are the Nikon D750, and I've used them for I think over 3 years now. The first one I got this one in 2017, and this one came with a grip. I bought this in 2018, and again, both are second-hand. Alright, so now let's proceed to the lenses that I use. First off is the Nikon 24-70 f2.8, and this has been my dream lens since I started doing photography. You know, when you start photography and then you see other photographers, they have all these cool gear, and I was like, I wanted one of those. So in 2017, I finally got one of those, and look at that, right? Okay, so let's put this to the side, and we're gonna proceed to the next lens. Now I have here the Nikon 50mm f1.4 prime lens, and with that baller thingy, right? So I got this lens way back 2014. I think this is one of the first lenses that I have ever bought, and again, it's secondhand. This lens is special to me because a friend of mine from the church sold this to me, and ever since, this has been a great lens for me, especially when I do portraits. And what I love about this is it can go as shallow, check this out, up to f1.4. So if you want those bokeh-licious shots, this is what I take out. Alright, next let's proceed to the next lens. I have here the Nikon 85mm f1.8 G lens, prime lens. Yes, it's a prime lens. So for those of you who don't know, a prime lens is a fixed focal length. You can't zoom in, you can't zoom out. It's basically it, just that single focal length. So this is by far my favorite lens in my kit. I use this mainly for portraits, like people portraits, and because it's a prime lens, it gives me much sharper photos than the other lenses that I have in my kit. I actually dropped this one time at a wedding, but good thing it landed on the hood on the floor. It was a concrete floor, and good thing that the lens didn't get scratched or anything. So lesson learned there, right? Alright, so next I have here one of the least lenses that I use. This is a macro lens, the 60mm f2.8 macro lens from, well, Nikon, right? So I only use this mainly for ring shots, you know, just to get up close to those rings. Other than that, I don't have any other uses for this. I used this one time for a food shoot, but that's about it. Okay, and last, this is the beast in my kit, and I've always wanted to have this lens way back even before I became a photographer. This is the Nikon 70-200 f2.8 zoom lens. So this is my telephoto lens, and yeah, as you can see over there, there's some rubber, loose rubber. I have to get that fixed. So this is mainly used for events, and most especially concerts, because I love shooting concerts. I use this to get up close to the subject that I'm shooting, and sometimes I use this for portraits, but very rare. So this lens is, I think, the third or second most used lens I have in my kit, and I love it so much because when you shoot at 200 mm at 2.8 up close to the subject, the background just bokeh. Alright, so let's put this down right here. So that's all the camera gear that I use, but those aren't the only things that are inside my bag. In the last 3 years, I've mainly focused myself on shooting studio style portraits, you know, on a background with lights and all that. So obviously, as a strobist photographer, as what they call it, I have different speed lights. So right now, I'm gonna show to you guys the different speed lights that I use. I have 1, 2, wait for it, 3, and 4. And I have 4 speed lights, but I don't shoot with all 4 all at the same time. It depends on what shoot I have, if it's a grad portrait or a corporate headshot. It all depends. So I'm just gonna run through with this quickly. First, I have 2 of these, the Godox TT685 C and N. So the letters stand for which camera make is it for. So C obviously is for Canon, and N's obviously for Nikon. So you might wonder why all I have is Nikon gear, but why do you have a Canon speed light? So actually, what I use to trigger all of these is the Godox XPro trigger, and this is a Nikon trigger. So it doesn't matter what camera make or model this is compatible with, as long as this can communicate with these guys, there's no problem. So that's why I bought the Canon version, because I'm not even gonna mount it to my camera. And that's for the Godox system. And this one next is actually one of my oldest speed lights. This is the Yongnuo, you can't even see it anymore, the Yongnuo 560 Mark III. So I still use this today, but as a backlight or a hair light sometimes, and I just put it on slave mode. And last but not the least is the Nikon SB-910 speed light. So this used to be my main light before I got these two right here, and I would have a Photex trigger for this. But today I just use it again as a hair light or as a backlight, depending on the shoot, because today I use these guys as my main lights. So that's my strobes. Let's put this over here. Now I'm gonna talk about the SD cards that I have. I mainly use SanDisk Extreme Pro SD cards, and they're all in 32 gig. I own 8 of them. 2 are actually on the camera right there we're recording right now, and I just love them. You know, they're kind of cheap now, but before they're really expensive. So I have a lot of these, even though I only use 2 cameras, because sometimes we have shoots that are so big that it requires me to have more than 3 or 4 SD cards per camera. So it's better to have more than less. At least we're prepared. Alright, so these are all the gear that I use, guys. And I did not accumulate all this all at once. It took time to get all the gears that I needed for the shoots. Some of these I've wanted for a long time, and it took me a long time to get these, but finally they're here. Remember, I started doing photography back in 2012, so you could imagine that was 8 years ago. So these things are 8 years of whatever shoots and savings that I've ever had. Alright, so that's the end of the video, guys. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make more videos, but well, at least share this, like this, and follow me on Instagram. See ya.